This video is sponsored by Car Vertical. Don't forget to use my promo code HIGHPEAK for 20% off each and every check that you do. Hello and welcome back to more High Peak. Well, in today's video we're going to discuss 5 luxury cars you can buy for just £800 or less. You wouldn't think you could buy a nice roadworthy luxury car for 800 quid or less, would you? Well, thanks to the used market here in the UK, you can. Out of the 5 cars featured in today's video, some were genuinely good buys, but a couple, not so much. And it's interesting actually because the couple that weren't great buys might surprise you. First up then is a very cheap Audi A6. I bought this for just £800. It was a 3-litre diesel Quattro. Let's have a look. Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, I've just bought quite a cheap car. I got an email from a viewer asking if I wanted to buy their late relative's 2004 Audi A6. They were quite local to me as well, which is always a good thing. It saves spending hundreds of pounds getting the car transported. If you remember, the last Audi A6 I bought was a late 2005 55 Avant, 3-litre all-wheel drive Quattro automatic. And that had done just shy of 150,000 miles, and I paid £1,000 for that. So I was thinking, this is a year older, 18 months older, it's the saloon which isn't as popular or as valuable, and it's done around 130,000 miles. So I offered £800 for it. Anyway, the next day he accepted my offer, and he even kindly dropped it off for me at the garage. Sadly, I wasn't actually at the garage when the seller dropped the car off. I was out picking up cars, so we missed each other. So I haven't actually seen this IRL. That, by the way, is street talk for in real life, so I'm told. I've seen photographs of it, and it did look alright. It's in quite an old man's colour, that wishy-washy pale blue colour. But it did look quite a genuine old thing. I mean, let's not forget, it's 19 years old, nearly 20 years old, this, so you've got to keep your expectations low. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but there must be some profit in this. At £800, there's got to be. The Audi A6 Avant that I had after I had a service done, and I think I serviced the gearbox as well, I sold it to a friend of mine for a few £100s profit, so maybe I can do the same with this. Not to that same friend, obviously, he's already got one. But anyway, you get the gist. Right, we're not far away now, so I'll see you there. Well, we're here. I mean, for £800, I can't complain, can I? But I will try. No, that looks quite tidy, really. I would never have picked that colour. You see so many examples of mid-2000s cars in that wishy-washy. Oh, wow. Like a Dulux paint chart on this near side. The front door is massively off colour. Who in the right mind would have painted that and thought, yeah, you know what? That's pretty good, if I don't say so myself. Right, so we've got tiny wheels, so it's an SE model, not an S-line. The headlamps want buffing, but do you remember how clean the headlamps came up on the, well, not only the X5, but also the A6 Avant that I was talking about? With a quick buff, they did come up looking good. Need some new reg plates, I would say. It's got full leather interior. And what colour is that leather? Sort of like a mushroomy colour. Who spec'd that car from you? I would quite like wishy-washy blue, and for the leather, I don't want black or beige. Do you have mushroom? Yeah, dash cam there. Right, well that looks alright. For £800 for a 3-litre diesel Quattro automatic. I can't go wrong, can I? I can't go wrong. Right, let's check this out then using Car Vertical. Now it's really important that you do one of these checks before you hand over any cash for a used car or motorbike. All you do is go to carvertical.com, type in the reg or the VIN. In this case it is Mercedes-Benz 04, Great British Foxtrot, check vehicle. By the way, if you want to do one of these checks for yourself and you'd like to save yourself 10% off each and every check that you do, use my promo code HIGHPEAK or click the link below in the video description. Right, it's currently checking database in dozens of countries. It checks like hundreds of millions of cars, this. So it'll tell us if it's ever been stolen, written off, had a mileage rollback, or has outstanding finance on it. Croatia, Italy, Poland, Romania, Sweden, United States. Nearly there now, nearly there. I turned the engine off, but it's very cold and my heated seat's on. What would Greta do? Right, and the report's ready. So, it has never been stolen, it's never had a mileage rollback, or, you know, it's never been clocked. There's no outstanding finance, and there's no recorded accident damage. The 2004 Audi A6 is a luxury sedan. At its last MOT, which was done in February this year, it had done 127,000 miles. The year before that, 126, the year before that, 125. So they haven't done many miles on this, have they really? I would say. I mean, it's 20 years old now, isn't it? When it was 3 years old, it had done 44,000 miles, and it's been fairly steady. every single year. The average market price for such a vehicle is $17.67. So there should be some profit, really. As long as that's not condemned by my mechanic, it's got to be worth a couple of grand, doesn't it? You can't get anything for a couple of grand these days, can you? That is a Audi A6 sedan, 2004 diesel, 6-speed automatic, Quattro. It was first registered in July 04. I wasn't even driving in July 04. Crazy. Let's see if there are any advisory items. It's had a couple of reg plates. RHW692. So that's its last one. Oh, right, okay. The only advisory item was offside stop lamps with multiple light source up to 1/2 not functioning. That's a minor defect. You'd have thought that would have been a fail, wouldn't you, really? Offside, right, so it needs a new driver's side tail light. Okay, not the end of the world. I'm sure we can find one on eBay. And that's about it. Right, let's go and see if it starts and drives. I assume it does, because like I say, the seller dropped it off. I assume it's all right. But if this job's taught me one thing, it's that one should never assume. The top of the boot lid looks very flat. Well, the first negative is that we've only got the one key. But it does still flick out, if a little reluctantly. There we go. I mean, it looks all right, doesn't it? Got plenty of sidewall on those tyres. We've got a Goodyear, and it's on about 5mm of tread. That's not bad, is it? Brake discs look okay. They're not too, there's no lip on it. That's all right. Bodywork looks quite tidy, quite straight. I think this side is original. That's all right then. Got a cobweb. Thrown in free of charge. Up front we've got a Sumitomo. I think I've had one of those before. That was on about 4mm of tread then. Got some moss there. Needs a good clean, but it's all right, isn't it? Headlamps will buff. New reg plates, that's fine. Fog lamps aren't cracked, so I'll let him water in. That's all good. Have we got a matching Sumitomo? Oh, we do. Matching Sumitomo. Some corrosion here because it's a 20-year-old VW product. Very mossy this. I think it's been parked under a tree. But it will clean. That door is massively off colour. Let's see if it's ripply with filler or bog. It's actually not. It looks quite level, that. It might have been keyed or something, and someone's just painted it in the wrong colour blue. And we've got a matching Goodyear. Right, okay, so we've got matching tyres on each axle. All very good. Oh yeah, look at that. I could see that it looked very matte, but that's like a chalkboard. We've got, I would say, aftermarket rear sensors. So that light looks okay. That's got a bit of water in it, hasn't it? Well, I could always buy one of those. Really, it wants the boot painting, really. Let's have a look inside it. Well, it's quite clean. I mean, it's dusty, but it's quite a clean car. It doesn't stink or anything. Oh, what's this? What's this Aldi centre aisle special we've got? That's some sort of Bluetooth hands-free device, I think. Made by, oh, it's Parrot. That's half a thing, actually. Right. We've got a dash cam here from Next Base. No sunglasses, that's a pity. I'm getting quite a collection of sunglasses. The shelves behind my desk look like a Sunglass Hut concession. Right, now this is quite a nice, oh hang on a minute. Don't want that, do we? It's quite a nice engine, this. It's a 3-litre turbo diesel V6. And it's just a big lump, really. I think it's about, is it 200 horsepower? 205 or 210, I think, off the top of my head. We've done 128,000 miles. Half tank of diesel. Automatic lights. That's all quite good, isn't it? The engine sounds quite creamy. I know I shouldn't rev a cold engine. All this wood's tarnished, but I'm not complaining, I'm just an observation. This with a good old clean will look all right, you know. Pop that back in there. Someone's won the lottery, £2.60 and £8.90. Look at that. Oh, you know what? That was me thinking I didn't have any sunglasses. Perfect. Fox. Look at that, perfect. Oh. Rear right fog light, not working. Suddenly decided it didn't want to function. But powerful mirrors, which both work. There we go. Do my windows work? Eins, zwei. Oh, that's very reluctant to operate. Rear ones. Perfect. Right. We are cooking. What about, oh, glove box. Oh. It's a bit eager, wasn't it? We've got a notepad there. I could use that later when I'm adding up all my costs, couldn't I? Have we got enough pages? Yeah, we've got enough pages. What have we got here? We've got, oh, we've got a glove. One glove. Wasn't OJ's car, this was it. Ah dear. If you can't laugh at your own jokes. Right, my armrest thing there is. Oh, it works. It's on its last legs actually, but it does still operate. It's a lot of car, this, isn't it? Right. First little bit of disappointment here. We've got no. Oh, hang on. Right rear brake light. Right brake light. Got no heated seats. What a pity. What a pity. But we do have Bose. It's not a bad spec, this. So we've got, what have we got here? Sat nav. Ah. Right. Let's go on map then. Do my maps work? Oh yeah, look at this. This was some car in its day, wasn't it? Very good. Bit of smooth, bit of hot chocolate. Don't remember me, do you? Just spotted on the back seat, we've got plenty of service history, I think. Oh, look at the old tax disc. Back when tax was only £280. Okay, service schedule then. Audi Macclesfield, free MOT for life. Got to be some catch there. Oh wow, right. So, in 2018 at 122,000 miles, the previous owner had replaced, at Audi, I might add, Audi Macclesfield, front anti-roll bar drop links, rear heat shields, rear spring mounts, coil spring, caliper nipple, coolant header tank. Deal. That was a big bill, £1,200. They know how to charge, don't they? Another bill here for £2,000. Oh wow, £2,000. Right. It has come from Stoke-on-Trent originally, supplied by Lynx Audi Macclesfield. They're quite good actually, I've used Mac Audi quite a few times. They're always very helpful. It's a nice little dealership. So it's been serviced at Macclesfield Audi at 16,000 miles. Then again at 37, Mac Audi, 57. Quite a long interval that, but who am I to judge? Another one at Mac Audi. Then one here at Mechanics in Congleton at 93,000 miles. And another one, this has got good history, this. 2015 at 115. Oh, then it went back to Mac Audi. Right, these are the big bills. This is a decent car, you know. So the last one, bear in mind we've done 128 now, so it's only done 5,000 miles since. That was 4 years ago. So I think if I give this a fresh service and fresh MOT, as long as my mechanic doesn't tell me it's completely ruined. It's only had 2 previous owners. Sorry, I'm just reading the logbook. The previous owner doesn't have a number on his street, it's just a name, which I always quite like. We've got original mats. Very good. Oh, have we got anything in the centre? Is there armrest? Oh yes. Oh, that feels a bit flimsy. A little bit smoky back here, but then it is a cold day. Oh, I tell you what, got lots of rubbish here. Wants a very good clean, this. Got a couple of golf umbrellas. I think I'll have those. And a air compressor / light. I tell you what, diesel fume, toxic, isn't it? Absolutely toxic. We've got a high-vis jacket there, full-size spare, batteria. Got a CD here. What have we got here? Music from Twin Peaks. Right. So I've got a CD and some sunglasses. Right. I'll send that back to the previous owner, I think. You've got to destroy those, haven't you? If they're no longer in use. Just realised as well we've got folding rear seats, which is quite handy actually for a saloon. You know, as a cheap car, cheap sort of winter runaround, it's all right, this, isn't it? I think that's what I'm going to do. I'll drive it first to see what it's like, but I'm thinking service, MOT, good clean, replace the rear light. We've got a decent thing. Gas struts work. The Audi badge, the 4 circles, is always missing off that. Always. It is quite a good engine, this. It has quite a common issue with timing chain rattles and stuff, but this one didn't rattle, did it? And it was cold. You'd expect it to. It's like a £2,000 job because, or it is on the Q7 at least anyway, because the chain's right at the back of the engine. Black oil, but then it hasn't had a service for 4 years. And it is a diesel, so whatever. Right, well I suppose I'm just wasting time now, aren't I? Should we go and drive it and make sure the gearbox functions? Oh, that's something else I could do. Service the box. Why are German cars so aggressive with the warning lights? Beeps. They are quite nice to drive, these, you know. The steering's nice and light. Plenty of power. The gearbox is quite smooth. I think if the previous owner spent a couple of grand on it, just 5,000 or 6,000 miles ago, we've got half a chance that this actually drives okay. Shame there's no heated seats, but for £800, what do you want? Pulls well. I'll tell you that for now. This drives really well, you know. Quite pleased. I'm watching out now for a smooth gearbox, smooth changes, not clinging onto the gears too long and all that sort of stuff. Seems to be alright, this. Very good. I think I could start my shopping list and I need to look for a rear light on eBay. Do I bother painting the boot lid or not? Where do you stop and start? Everything seems to work alright though. My heater's getting nice and warm. Oh, we've got cruise control. It's a nice old car, this. Quite like it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think 2004 was the first of this newer shape. Before that was that horrible whale tail shape thing, wasn't it? Yeah, I'm sure I'm right in saying that. This drives very well. I've just noticed we've got no multifunction steering wheel. They are mean with their extras, aren't they, Audi? I mean, this was probably a... what would this have cost new? 28 grand back then, probably? 26, 28, 30 maybe? Because it is a 3-litre diesel quattro auto. And yet we've got no heated seats, no multifunction steering wheel. The wheels off my filing cabinet. Chirps up like a parrot, doesn't it, that? It's like the sound effects from Crash Bandicoot, isn't it? Right, well, I'm quite pleased with this, so I think I'll run it straight to my mechanics and take it from there. Get them to drop the oil, give it a fresh ticket, and we might just be away. As cheap cars go, this would be alright, wouldn't it? In fact, a mate of mine asked me the other day, "Have you haven't got any cheap cars, have you?" He'd ordered, his mate or somebody that he knew had ordered a brand new car, but it wasn't here for like 6 months, so he wanted something just to knock around in, really, that he wouldn't lose a fortune on. Something like that's a bit ideal, wouldn't it? Right, then let me crack on with the work, and I shall catch up with you later on. I say later on, it'll be in probably 2 weeks' time. And we're back in my cheap Audi A6, and guess what? It's still not quite finished. I can't quite believe just how wrong I got this car. You know the intro to this video that you watched like 10 seconds ago? I filmed that in November 2023. It's now January 2025. This is probably one of the longest running projects I've ever had. I don't quite know what went wrong with it, to be honest, but it just took an age. And I'm still not quite out of the woods yet. After we last spoke then, back in 2023, I think I was probably taking this down to my mechanics. That was probably my first stop. Then it sat there for a few months, I suppose. Then it went to Jimmy the Painter's for some paint. Seem to remember now, it had a smashed tail light. The boot lid was, well, had a matte finish, that needed to be painted, along with some other bits of paint. The inside was very grubby, it needed a service. There were a few other faults with it. I've now kind of sorted most of them, but then with your typical Germanic predictability, it threw up new problems. For example, I've got a flashing key now as I drive along. I've never seen that warning before. That's a new one on me. If you can tell me perhaps why it's doing that, then let me know in the comments below. I've actually got this car booked in with a specialist in a few days' time, so hopefully they'll get to the bottom of it. Yeah, I don't really know why that warning sign's there, but there we go. What I'm going to do shortly then is park up and talk you through my costs, and I have massively overspent. Like I say, I've got this one so wrong. I paid just £800 for it, which I thought was a bargain. It turned out to be, well, not quite the bargain I was expecting. What I will say though is now after 14 months, it looks and drives really good. Jimmy's done a really good job with the bodywork. Tameside Detailing done a really good job with the valet. The interior cleaned up nicely. I actually thought these carpets would never look good ever again, but they've done a really good job. Mechanically it's spot on. The gearbox changes well, the engine pulls well. It's all pretty good really, barring the odd little issue. I paid £800 for it and I've currently got it advertised for £2,995. I don't really know what this car's worth. I mean, it's a 3-litre diesel V6 Quattro automatic. Just seemed like an awful lot of car for £3,000, that's what I thought. That's how I kind of worked out my pricing on this one. But of course I could have got it wrong. Wouldn't be the first time, would it? But I suppose if I don't get any interest, I can always reduce it. So, well, we're not far away from our little lay-by, so we'll park up and I'll talk you through what went wrong and how much it cost. It's still only 5 degrees, it was 0 when I got in my car this morning, but it's a beautiful day. Almost feels like spring. Right, my lay-by is nice and free. It is riddled with potholes, so I think we'll leave the engine running because it was flat this morning. I had a flat battery. Right, let me get my calculator out then. So, we'll start off with £800, that's what I paid for the car. It needed some welding repairs to the near side and offside front sills. So with steel and materials plus labour, that was £210. Right, that was that. Then it had a service, a battery, an offside rear bulb holder, carriage for the lamp, okay, a new lamp lens, labour, MOT test fee, that was £527.36. Getting up there, aren't we? Then there's another bill here for, oh, it had to have another MOT fee. Because this project's gone on so long, it's actually had 2 MOTs. So we've got another MOT fee there, and a bolt set to secure an under tray. That was loose, plus a new under tray. That was £265.60. In addition to that, we've got some new reg plates. They were £15. A valet at Tameside Detailing, that was £70. What else? Oh, paint. I think I had quite a big paint bill, actually. Are you ready? Right. Repaint boot lid. Repair and repaint front near side wing and sill and repaint. Repair and repaint offside sill. Buff, polish, wax full vehicle and general clean. £435. So we'll add 435 to that.
I'm not very good at this job sometimes, am I? My total then, unless I've forgotten something else, which is more than possible to be honest, because it's gone on for so long. My total so far is £2,322.96. So if I can sell it for somewhere between 2.5 and 3 grand, it is money back plus a small profit. But I'm pretty sure I've earned more money if I just left my money in the bank. So it's not great really. Although having said that, I mean, these projects are all about saving cars that people overlook. So if you look at it like that, then I've done my job really, haven't I? I've saved a car that looked a little bit scruffy and a little bit tatty. It now looks really good. I mean, it's a 21-year-old car this now, but you'd never know. So in that regard, I'm quite satisfied. I'll have to remember that story when my accountant inquires. Let's not forget that we've still got this issue with this flashing key light. Now I'm hoping it's some sort of just plug in, reset, you know, that sort of thing. I'm hoping it doesn't need a part. If it needs some sort of new ignition barrel or switch or something like that, then any hopes of a profit will have flown away. But let's hope it's something and nothing. Let's hope it's something straightforward. That's about it. I can't remember if I had the gearbox serviced. I haven't got a copy of the bill. I normally do, don't I? I normally service the gearbox. Just honestly can't remember. Like I say, I've got this one wrong. I apologise. This might not be the most entertaining video. In fact, it might be. It might be.
Well, that one took me a little bit longer than I was expecting. Almost 2 calendar years. I think I started it in 23 and ended it in 25. Honestly, I think they completed the Eurotunnel project in less time. Anyway, you can't win them all, can you? My next one then is a very cheap Jaguar X-Type I bought. This particular one is one of my favourites because it was the facelift model. I think in 2008 they facelifted the X-Type one last time before it was ultimately replaced with the XE. AF09. AF09 UOY.
Yeah.
Is it? Is it?
AF09 UOY.
Sad.
Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, today we're going to pick up one of my all-time favourite cheap cars, the Jaguar X-Type. Or if you're from the States, Jaguar. Jaguar. This particular car arrived in part exchange. My colleague paid £750 for it, which I thought sounded quite cheap, but it gets better. It's a 2009, which means it's a facelift model. You know, the ones with the indicators in the wing mirrors and the mesh grille. It's one of those. It's a 2.2 litre turbo diesel, which is quite a reliable old engine, even though diesel isn't the most popular fuel types today, and it's automatic. So it's £750. I can't really go wrong with this. Famous last words. I haven't actually seen this car yet or driven it, so as they say, the proof of the pudding will be in the eating. I remember a few years ago, in fact many years ago, I really wanted one of these X-Types, one of these facelift diesel automatics. I just thought they looked really good. Anyway, I'm guessing this one might need quite a few £100s spending on it to bring it up to scratch. I'm just hoping that it isn't too rusty. I've had dozens and dozens of these cars over the years and they always have rusty sills. The sills always need replacing, it's quite a big job. In fact, I've got one at my mechanic right now which is currently up in the air having 2 new sills, so I know it's a common issue and it will zap all the profit out of this deal if they're rotten. They might not be, of course, but I'm just setting the bar really low like I always do. That way I won't be too disappointed. Right, well, we're not too far away now, so let's go and see what £750 has bought me. Well, we're here. I think I've swum the channel there, guys. That looks like, well, it looks like a £5 car. I'm not saying it's worth £5, but it certainly looks like every penny of £750. Is that a sport model? I don't know, it's got the bigger wheels. It's a bit of an old man's colour, a bit of a wishy-washy blue. Neither one thing nor the other. Oh my god, it's got a National Trust sticker. It's had a little bit of paint to the front bumper, and it needs some more. A couple of little scuffs there. The wheels want refurbishing, and the near side rear tyre looks a little bit soft and flat. We've got the original plates from Stratstone. Could do with a fresh set of plates, really, couldn't it, that? There's a little bit of damage to that front wing, driver's side. That looks alright though, you know. Someone's fitted one of those retrofit digital DAB things because we've got a DAB aerial. This is often the trouble with older Jags. They're bought by generally older people who have plenty of time on their hands and an eBay account, and they smother them in chrome and aftermarket bits of tat. Just gonna have a look around it. Let's have a look then. Deployables, right. There she is. I spotted some rust straight away. The other bit of good news is we've got both sets of keys. Do they work? One does. The other one does. Results. So, just as I said in the car, we've got some spots of rust here. Always seem to go on the wheel arches. It's a little bit scabby. I mean, the outer sill looks okay, but you never really know until you get it on a ramp. They look a bit scabby, don't they? Like they've been sat. The calipers and the discs look a little bit ropey as well. We've got decent tyres though. We've got a Pirelli P0. I was fully expecting this to be a Happy Gallop or a Happy Clapper or one of those cheap Chinese brands. That looks okay though. We've got a Respect the Water sticker. Royal National Institute for the Prevention of Lifeboats there. We've got a scuffed wheel and another ropey brake disc, but another Pirelli. Another Pirelli. It does look quite worn on that outer edge though, and they look like old tyres. They're going to need replacing. From 2017, in case you're wondering. Slight dent there that someone's touched in. That'll buff out. That'll buff out and touch in. That's not too bad, I can live with that. Got a nice black leather interior. It is crying out for a set of reg plates. Got front parking sensors, got some more scuff damage there. I think that could be touched in though carefully without spending a fortune on it. I mean really, to make it pristine you'd paint the whole front bumper really, but how far do you go on this car? Straight away we're into wheel refurbs, 2 tyres, possibly 3 tyres. That one looks a bit flat. This one is a Marshall. Is it a Marshall Mathers tyre? If it is, it'll be all bitter and angry all the time. This is made in Korea. Oh, it's a Kumo. It's not a Brad band. It's not a bad brand. No rust here, but a couple of scuff marks. National Trust there from 2018. A little bit of condensation there in the indicator. And back here we've got another Pirelli. You could go to town with this and put 4 tyres on because this is from 2017 as well and it looks a little bit old. If I put my foot through that, it is very soft. Moving around the back then, I really do need to get my strimmer out. Moving around the back, we've got some damage to the paintwork and a hole in the bumper. Delilah. Well, I'm not complaining for £750 because I think this is a bargain. But straight away I've spotted £800 worth of work. Wheels are going to cost me £180 for a set. Tyres are going to cost me 300 quid maybe. Bumper, 150. What do I do with this? Do I keep it cheap, sell it as it is, or do I go to town with it? Got electric seats. Do we? Not forwards or backwards. Why do they do that? Cheap out and stuff like that. That's an old Ford switch. We've got powerful mirrors. That's work. Look at that. 4 electric windows, which is a good option actually because on most X-Types they had manual winders in the back. Got plenty of air fresheners here. Cotton candy. What have we got in the back there? Oh, cup holders. They're good cars these, aren't they? I like them anyway. What have we got in the boot then? It's all very grubby. All that moss should wash off there, shouldn't it? What have we got under here? Have we got any water leaks? No. We've got, I think my Marshall Mathers M&M tyre was the spare because this is a matching Pirelli. That's what I think. Detective Inspector Goodwin. What else can I show you? Look at the old auto box, look. This is alright, you know. There we go, look at the aftermarket tat. This is either an eBay special or an Audi centre aisle special. We'll never know, will we? Oh, heated seats. And an auto dimming rear view mirror. The seat is very, very upright here. It's been a local car because I've just spotted the name on the logbook. Right, we've done 109. Little Jaguar emblem there. I can't show you for GDRP reasons the customer's name, obviously, or address. It is a local car. And there is a bit of history here, actually. He paid £7,000 for it in 2016. Classic FM, obviously. Well, there's a wad of paperwork. Ah, it's been to Elite Cars, Elite Jaguar, for a gearbox fault that's been rectified. It's had a new turbo. I hate cars. Why are they so unreliable? Glow plug wiring harness. Stuff that you don't get with petrols. Oh, it isn't a timing belt, it's a timing chain. Right, at 103, let me turn off this music. At 103,000 miles, check engine for non-start and no compression. We found that the timing chain rockers and lifter timing chain found to be correct. Ah, right, okay. So it's chain driven. They fitted a new EGR and throttle body and a battery. That cost £938, that's expensive. It's had a DPF clean. All the other joys of driving a diesel car. This is why you're far better with a petrol. It had a new turbocharger at Elite for £1,000 in 21. Someone spent a lot of money on this. It had a service at 101. Coil spring, we know about that, don't we, on the previous MOT. Another service here at 99,000 miles. It's had a new alternator, discs and pads. It's had a lot of work done at Elite. That's a good sign. Full service there at Elite. Right, sorry I'm boring you to tears here, but the long and short of it is that we've got quite good service history. Let's see if there's a service book. Got a locking wheel nut there. Have we got a service book as well? Warranty benefits. Navigation system. Right, there's no service book as such. No, there's no service book, but we do have a wad of paperwork. Got a little USB point there. Sat nav. I always like this system. I know it looks a little bit dated now, but it's very easy to use, very easy to operate. Should we fire this up then and see if she drives all right? Wait for my little glow plug. The unmistakable sound of a diesel engine. Sound of a taxi cab. So it has done 109,297 miles. We've not got a single warning light on. We've got half a tank of fuel. This seems to be all right, really. With all that history, with the new turbo and all that sort of stuff. It's got to be good news, hasn't it? Let me pull it forward a tad so we can... Right. Does need a very good clean, this. But not a bad car, is it really? Should we have a look under the bonnet? There we go then, the old 2.2 litre turbo diesel. I don't have complete faith in those struts, to be honest. I'm going to get a whack on the head, aren't I? It looks very, very honest under here, doesn't it? It's a good clean. No obvious leaks anywhere. A little bit of corrosion in various places. But then it's a 14, nearly 15-year-old car, isn't it? Right, should we drive this, see how it performs? Take her for a spin. What I'm checking for really, we've got an amber warning there, service required. What I'm checking for here really is that the gearbox changes as it should. We've got no knocks or clunks or bangs or whistles. A little bit of a knock here where the suspension feels a little bit loose. It's quite a good spec this, isn't it? Just noticed we've got auto lights. Put my heated seats on. Yes, we've definitely got something knocking on the front there. Maybe D-bushes, track rod end, drop link. I hope it's not the bottom arms, because on Jaguars they are quite expensive. Can we go, can we go, can we go? There we go. I mean, on paper at least, this is quite a good car. It might be worth spending £1,000 or so on, and then perhaps I'll get it back on the other end. We've got a annoying vibration coming from the boot, I think. It might be that spare wheel that isn't secure. I noticed it wasn't in properly. Yeah, we've got lots of little knocks up front. That's irritating, isn't it? But it's driving all right. Changing gears fine. Quite pleasant, really. This could cost me a right few quid. Does it smoke under acceleration? Seems to be all right. Just have to bear in mind one of my rear tyres is a little bit flat, so won't be going too fast today. Right then, I think what I'm going to have to do with this is run it to my mechanics, make sure the sills aren't rotten, and find out what it's going to cost me to get through a clean MOT. I think I'll ask them for a general check over, and then if it checks out all right, then service, MOT with no advisory items, sort the suspension out, then worry about the bodywork and the wheels, and the tyres. This is such a borderline case. I'm quite glad we've only paid $750 for it, because any more than that, I don't think there'd be any profit in at all. But at $750, it might still be doable. If, for example, I spent £1,000 on this, so it would be $1,750. Worst case, it's going to be worth $2,995, hasn't it? So there's still over £1,000 profit. Right, leave this with me. Catch up with you very shortly. And we're back in the cheap Jaguar X-Type, and it's now all done and ready for sale. I'm quite pleased with this one, because I've saved yet another X-Type. And luckily I didn't massively overspend on this one. Let me tell you what happened then. What happened was, after we spoke last time, I ran this down to my mechanics, and I was half expecting them to completely condemn it. It was one of those borderline cases. And what's funny, this happens a lot in this job. Sometimes I'll take a car down there that I think is very nice, loads of history, and it drives nice, and I think, yeah, this will pass its MOT and it'll only need £40 spending on it for its test. And then what happens is I get a bill for £800. And equally, sometimes I can take a car down there that I've not got total confidence in. Sometimes I'll buy something and I think, it's all right, but I'm going to get a big fat bill at my mechanics. And then what sometimes happens is 2 or 3 days later, my mechanic calls me to say, right, so-and-so's ready. It was only £220. Result. That's what happened with this X-Type, and I'm over the moon. I got a call from a mechanic a couple of days after dropping this, and they said, right, it's all ready. I said, oh, right, okay, I was half expecting you to write it off. And she said, no, it needed a couple of tyres, brake discs and pads, a service, a couple of suspension arms, but no, nothing catastrophic. So I had a bit of a result, really. Then I called Luke, the wheel guy, who came out and refurbished the wheels. If you remember, they were quite badly scuffed and scraped and curbed in general. And what he's done is sanded them all down, repainted them, re-lacquered them, and they now look as good as new. It's really lifted the car. After that, in fact, I'm not sitting here waiting in this traffic. You've got to know all the shortcuts, you see. After that, I picked it up from there and took it down to Jimmy the Magician, who painted it. He painted various bits and pieces, but I told him not to go mad with it because it's a cheap Jag at the end of the day, and I didn't want a humongous bill. So there are still a couple of areas which aren't completely perfect, but I think in general, he's done a really good job and it looks nice. This car really benefited from a good buff. Come on then, I'll let you through because it's Christmas. How do you feel about one finger waves? Not a fan of that. What's wrong with that? Or that? Anyway, what happened next? Oh, it needed its valet. So I dropped it off at the valeters, Tameside Valeting, who cleaned the car from top to bottom, and I picked it up from them this morning. I got it back to work and photographed it, and I've advertised it at £3,495, which I think it's a lot of car for the money. But Auto Trader disagree. They've told the whole world that it's £600 overpriced. Cheers, Auto Trader. Cheers. I mean, what do you think? I think for a facelift X-Type automatic with 109,000 miles on the clock and loads of history in a decent spec, I think £3,495 is a bit of a bargain. Now, if you remember, I paid £750 for this car. And I think I've spent around about around about £1,200, I think. I haven't worked it out to the penny, so that's what we're going to do next. I'm going to park up in my usual spot and I'll talk you through my costs. Here will do then. Oh, somebody's emptied the bin. Very good. One thing I can tell you about this car is the heater works exceptionally well. It's melting here. For some reason, the previous owner's got it set to Fahrenheit, which I don't understand. It's telling me my exterior temperature is 50, which I think is 10. I think that's 10. 80. I think that's hot. Okay then, right. Knock the old engine off. Right, the car cost me £750. The bill at my mechanics was £743, which I said wasn't too bad. It's actually the same price as the car. I didn't think was too bad. I just expected them to completely rip this car apart. In fairness, what it had was oil filter, oil, so just a minor service really, front brake discs, front brake pads, 2 tyres, MOT test V, labour, 2 suspension arms. So, what else have we got? The wheel refurbs cost me £190, the valet cost me £70, the bill at Jimmy's was £400. Now what he did was repair and repaint front bumper, remove, repair and repaint rear bumper, remove rust offside rear wheel arch and repair half quarter. Okay, clay, wash, buff, polish, wax, full vehicle and touch in and a general clean. £400. Great value. So my grand total is, hang on a sec, 750 plus 743 plus 190 plus 400 plus 70 for the valet. It's windy up here today. My grand total is, for this old 09 Jaguar X type automatic, is £2,153. So if I can get £3,500 for it, then there's a profit of around £1,350, which isn't bad, is it? I'd take that really. And I've saved another car, so that's good.
Well, although I did kind of overspend on that car, I still made a profit. So ultimately, it was a worthwhile job. Next up then is a very cheap BMW 5 Series I bought for just £500. Now this was petrol, automatic, and it was finished in a really nice colour. You really wouldn't think you could buy all this car for just £500. Let's see if it turned out to be a mistake, shall we?
Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, it's a beautiful day up here in the northwest today, and for some reason I've chosen the only car in my fleet without air conditioning. Actually, that's not strictly true. My 02 Range Rover doesn't have air conditioning. Well, it does, but, you know, it doesn't really. It is rather warm in here. There we go. Good old-fashioned air conditioning. You can't beat it. Anyway, today I've got quite an exciting one for you, because we're off to go and pick up a cheap BMW 5 Series that I bought for just £500. 500 quid. A monkey, if you're a Cockney. I love this sort of thing. I haven't actually seen it yet, I should point out, but based on the description, it sounds alright. Let me close this window, there's too much noise. I'll just have to sweat. And my brother picked this up yesterday for me from a main dealer. It came in part exchange there. So like I say, I haven't actually seen it, but when I asked him what it was like, he said, yeah, it's alright. Now, he isn't a man of many words, to be fair, but at least it wasn't anything negative. It wasn't a scathing review of it. He didn't say, what have you made me pick this up for? And he would have done. Trust me, he would have done. So I'm feeling weirdly optimistic today. I don't know whether it's just the good weather or what, but I do feel like I've got a spring in my step. Which is good actually, because for the last 3 or 4 weeks, I've been utterly miserable. Anyway, that's all water under the bridge now. So let's go and have a look at this 5 Series. I don't know an awful lot about it, but here's what I do know. I know it's a late 2003 53. I know it's blue, so I'm guessing it's topaz blue, the same colour as my first X5, X840 DYB, in case you were wondering. I think it's an SE model, because I think the early ones were. What else do I know about it? Oh, it's done around 90,000 miles, so it isn't particularly high. It's a 520i. Now here's the thing, maybe you could educate me on this. I think, or I'm hoping, the early 520i's used a 6-cylinder engine. I think they used that old M54 engine, which is quite a good little 6-cylinder. I just hope it's not a 4-cylinder. 4-cylinder BM, well, 4-cylinder anything, they're always a bit wet, aren't they? A bit bland. You can't beat a big old 6. This, of course, is the first of that newer shape 5 Series, so this is the E60, not the E39. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with it yet either. I always try and think of a reason to keep these. I can't have another car for the dog. I've already got twice as many dog cars as I do dogs, so that's out of the equation. Well, I don't know. I'll think of something. Come on, you can do it. This old pre-facelift 1.9 non-turbo diesel Berlingo doesn't really do well with hills. That's my foot completely to the board. Hopefully this old 5 Series is a little quicker. Right, let's go and have a look, shall we? I'll see you there. Well, we're here. That isn't topaz blue at all, that's mystic blue. Don't act surprised that I know these things. Mystic blue metallic, that is. It's an SE, which always looked a bit boring, but that's a lot of car for 500 quid. Paintwork isn't the best. The front bumper's had a few kisses with a tall curb. It's crying out for some reg plates. These are all things I can fix. Does need a good clean, actually. In fact, a very good clean. That's minging. But it's got the nice Dakota beige leather interior. I love this era of BM, as I've mentioned many times. It's missing some of its what do you call it? Like grille things from the front valance. We'll have to have a look on eBay. We've got headlamp washers, but no xenons. That's all right, that, you know. I'm quite impressed so far. Should we go and have a look at my Mystic Blue 520i then? Try and work out whether it's the M54 engine or not. Well, the first bit of good news is that we've got 2 keys, and that one looks like it's never been used. With the old diamond style BMW key, which I really like, actually. It's a bit strange that I've got such a strong opinion of key-shaped designs, but there we go. My top spec Berlingo's reminded me I've left my keys in my ignition. So, it's not in bad shape really, is it, that? Looks all right. There's a bit of scuff down this rear bumper there, but that will buff out. It isn't deep. It won't buff out completely, but I could improve that. A little buffing wheel on it. What about tyres then? We've got a Blue Earth GT. Oh, it's a Yokohama. I was just about to ridicule it for being an unknown brand, but I shan't. Well, looks quite straight on the panels, doesn't it? Quite tidy on the sills. There's lots of moss and algae and stuff around the windows. Nothing that a good old jet wash can't sort out. Got what looks like some sort of hair scrunchie there, but I don't think it is. The rubber seals there sort of started to perish. It's in quite good shape though, this, isn't it? Have we got another Blue Earth? We do actually. Another Blue Earth on about 5 mil. This is a decent car, you know. 500 quid. Who'd have thought it? So this is that piece of trim that I was telling you about. It should have one of those, like a fog lamp surround thing, but it's missing. Also the fog lamps are have let water in. What I should do, you know, is order some aerosol paint in the same colour code and just blow this bottom bit in, just to take your eye off it. Order some new plates, give it a clean. Got a little bit of lack appeal here, haven't we? But I'm not painting a bonnet on a 21-year-old BM. I'm quite pleased with this. Don't tell me we've got another. We do. We've got another Blue Earth on about 5 mil. This hasn't had a clean for a good number of years. Got all the brake dust. But on the bright side, I mean, although the wheels are a little bit rough, aren't they? I'm not complaining, by the way. I'm just giving you a narration. The brake discs look okay. A few scratches down this side, but nothing deep, nothing that wouldn't buff out. We've got a full house, a full set of Blue Earths by Yokohama. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. What about up here then? Roof isn't dented. No sunroof though. Well, the rear plate's all right, but I'll put a matching set on, obviously. We're missing a reflector. See how it should have that like red reflector there, and there does not have one. So I need to order one of those. Again, I'll have to have a look on eBay. Busy day at Manchester Airport today. Right. Let's have a look inside then, shall we? Right, well, one key doesn't work. Nothing's happening. These actually take a charge, I think, while they're in the ignition, so we'll see. We're in business. So we've got part electric, part manual seats. Got a nice beige leather interior. It smells of BMW, if you know what I mean. It's just got that early 2000s BMW smell. Got auto lights. 4 electric windows. This is a nice car, you know. I like it. Got an armrest with cup holders, I think. No. Oh yeah, cup holders. Look at that. That's very sort of L322-esque, isn't it, that? We even got a little ski hatch. Look at this. No, I think I've broken it. We'll leave that down. Pretend it was like that already. The boot pops up, look at that. With vigour. Right, we've got a book pack here. So it's a 520i SE Auto. Blue petrol gas with the VIN. That was the supplying dealer. We've got the engine number, but I still don't know whether it's the 5-cylinder or not. 6-cylinder, sorry. I suppose we could have a look under the bonnet, couldn't we? Rather than beating around the bush. Just needs a good old clean, this. Pop the bonnet then. Now this 6-cylinder engine, if it's the 6-cylinder, will be quite a big lump. There we go. That is the 6-cylinder. This is a result, you know. Those struts aren't the best, to be honest. They're doing the job, but for how much longer, I don't know. So we've got the big old 6-cylinder. What a result. See that? This is why I own the big bucks. Right, what can I tell you then? We've got heated seats. This isn't a bad spec. So we've got heated seats down here. We've got parking sensors. It's automatic, that's good. Air conditioning, that probably won't work. We've got cruise control though. We've got some pop-out cup holders, which I always get quite excited about. You ready? You ready for this? Oh. Turn that off. Oh, there we go. It's a little bit shy at first. Yeah, and that one just doesn't want to play at all. Right. Service history then. We've got a service book here. It's an E60 520i from October 2003. Very good. Well, we've got some stamps here. So the supplying dealer was down in Hampshire. Oh, look at this. Holland Park BMW. In 05. At 11. This must have been owned by somebody with a few quid there, mustn't it? If they took it to Holland Park BMW. Holland Park, by the way, if you don't know, is like a really wealthy part of London. It's where loads of celebrities and rich people live. So then it had a service then at BMW, then Barlaston, Stoke-on-Trent. Okay, very good. Newcastle, yep, Stoke ST, and then another one, Ramsbottom, Stirling Bridge. This is good history, you know. Very good. When was the last one then? Last one was at 88. Doesn't give a date. But what's the mileage now? What's the mileage now? Hang on. It says it's due a service in 6,000 miles. 88,613. We've got a parking sensor fault. Right, let me just cover up the guy's name and address here. For data protection reasons. So in 2022, he ordered a brand new key, which was £180. That's actually cheaper than I was expecting. It is the M54, I can see it there. M54 2.2 petrol. You know what as well? I don't want to get too excited, but my air conditioning's working. I'm currently getting some nice cool air blown at me, which I really wasn't expecting. I'm quite pleased with this purchase for a change. Normally I'm in this car park, aren't I, sweating in some horrible doggy car that stinks. And on this occasion, I think that's from the channel. All fluke, obviously. It isn't ability, it's just fluke. Steering's all right. And apart from the parking sensor fault, we've got no other warning lights on, which for a BMW Sounds silky, doesn't it? You really can't beat a 6-cylinder engine from BM. Obviously this would have been nicer had it been a big 530 or something, but still, it's a 6-cylinder. So, can't complain. And that air conditioning is ice cold. We've got the small screen, I've just realised, which isn't a problem. Got a line running through it as well. Listening to radio too, so we sort of know the age of the man, don't we? Sensible chap, goes to BM for a spare key, gets his air conditioning recharged. It's always been owned by the sort of person that if you were your neighbour, he'd take your bins out while you're on holiday. Stand-up sort of person. Anyway, I'm talking nonsense. Should we take this for a drive? See how it performs? Make sure it pulls well and it doesn't miss, or, you know, well, it's not hunting or anything, it's idling very smoothly. Let's take it for a run. In fact, hang on a second, we're getting ahead of myself. Let's check the windows. Okay, right. It was all going too well, wasn't it? My offside rear does not work, but the other three do. Like I'm in a Renault, isn't it, this? Does it work from the back? Hang on. No. That's weird. I can hear it clicking from the glove box down here. I can hear the relay clicking or something. How strange. Anyway, let's get this show on the road, see how it drives. Right, buckle up then. Let me just move my microphone. Seatbelt's a bit mouldy. Right, and we're away. This was a really good era for BMW, this. Hang fire there, barrier. Well, straight away it feels like, well, it feels just how it should. Steering's quite weighty. Engine's silky smooth. It's picking up nicely. Air conditioning's ice cold, I can't believe that. After running around Van Berlingen all morning, where I've been sweating, saying, you don't really need air conditioning, just wind down a window. It's so nice to have it, so nice. What can I tell you then? Well, the mileage is low, isn't it, for a 21-year-old car? It's half what it should be. It's rear-wheel drive. Gearbox, oh, hang on a minute. Oh no, that was all right. I think that was an operator error. Wasn't pressing the accelerator properly. I thought I'd lost a bit of power then for a second. What about my windscreen wash? There we go. This, I say this all the time, don't I? This is quite a decent thing. The only downside to this, of course, but you can't have everything, can you? The road tax will be quite high. It'll be $395 a year or something, won't it? And also, I imagine you'll be doing, well, let's find out, shall we? 22 miles per gallon? It won't be great on fuel, will it? It's quite a big, heavy car with a big engine and an auto box. But still, as a runaround, there are far worse options. Has he left me any CDs in? Nope. What I'm going to do with this then? I don't really know. It's way too old to retail, isn't it? Although, having said that, I could run it down to my mechanics, get them to check it over and make sure it's all safe. You know, it doesn't need an MOT, does it? Because it's got one until January. It doesn't need servicing because it had one, I presume, in January as well. It was done 400 miles ago. So it doesn't need any mechanical prep. The tyres are all good. Someone's obviously looked after this. Not on a shoestring, which is a nice change. I think I'll just take it over to Tameside Valeting and get them to do a proper valet on it. I'll order the bit of trim from the front and I'll order a bit of trim for the back. Just make it look a bit tidier. I'll order some new plates. That's about it. It's got to be a £2,000 car, hasn't it, this? Without getting greedy. If I can spend maybe £250 on it, it'll owe me £750. It's a decent return here, you know. Pulls well. I do like BMs. Hang on a minute, broke my steering column. There we go. Don't know my own strength sometimes. What else can I tell you? Need to lubricate my cup holders. Got any treasure? No, no treasure. This is one of those cars that if I knew somebody that was just looking for a cheap runaround, this would be perfect. We've got an open road now, let's sting it. Oh yes. What's funny about this 2.2 litre 6-cylinder engine is that it sounds when you boot it like you're making good progress, and then you look at your speedometer and you're not really. It does sound nice though. Changes gear nicely as well, nice and smooth. You know, saying that, that's quite fast, especially for these little 30 mile an hour roads, 40, whatever it is. This is half a car. Okay then. Let me head over to Tameside, drop this off with the lads, and I'll get back to you later. In fact, let me call and order my plates before I forget. Bear with me a second. Ah, my indicators work. It's unusual for a BMW, isn't it? What a beautiful day it is today. Let me call and order these plates then. Hi, it's Matt at High Peak Autos. How you doing?
Hi, pal, you alright, mate?
Yeah, good, thanks. Could I get a set of plates, please, pal?
Yeah, man.
Standard size, front and rear. Romeo Golf 5-3.
Romeo Golf 5-3.
Charlie Papa Zulu.
Charlie Papa Zulu. Standard front and rear.
That's
No
it.
worries, mate.
Perfect. Cheers, pal. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
See you. Bye-bye. One job done. Right, let me go and take this to the valeters, and I'll have an update for you very soon. And we're back in the cheap BMW 520i, and it's all prepared and now ready for sale. Apologies for my voice, by the way. I sound a bit like Ray Winston, don't I? We've got a cold or flu or something, I don't know. I feel terrible. Anyway, the show must go on. My throat feels terrible. Although on the bright side, if I could find a karaoke bar, I think I'd do a pretty good Macy Gray. This car's taken me a little bit longer than I'd liked, but that's sometimes the case. Everyone I use is always busy, mostly dealing with my problems for me. So sometimes cars and projects just drag on a little bit, but we got there in the end. And I think it now looks really good, to be honest. I mean, you got to remember it's a 21-year-old car, but it does look particularly tidy. After we last spoke, I ran this down to my mechanic and asked them to replace the fog lamp surround, and the rear reflector, and also just check it over and just make sure it was all right. Now, before you say anything, I know what you're thinking. I could have probably sourced these parts myself on eBay or something a little bit cheaper, but I'm always busy. I don't have time. I did have a quick look on eBay one evening, and I couldn't really find what I was looking for, and I thought, oh, you know what? I'll just let my mechanic do it. If they order the wrong parts, then that's their problem, not mine. So that's what I did. As a result, my bill was a little bit larger than I'd hoped. I was hoping to get those three things done for about 100 quid, which, I don't know, in hindsight might have been a bit too optimistic. The reality, though, sadly, was that my bill was 3 times the size of that. It was nearly £300. But still, it needed to be done, and I've had it done. From there, then I picked it up and took it down to Jimmy the magician. It needed a little bit of paint work. If you remember, the lower part of the front bumper, and I think the bumper corner, was scuffed and scratched. So I've had that repainted. He's also given the car a thorough clean for me and a buff, and I think clay barred it, and touched in some spots of lacquer where it was peeling. Oh, my voice is terrible, sorry. And yeah, that was it. So I took it to the, I took it for a mini valet, a second mini valet, and got it all cleaned up, and now it's ready for sale. So I've currently got this advertised. Well, actually, no, that's a lie. I've taken some photographs of it. I'm yet to advertise it. I don't know what to advertise it for. I'm thinking it's got to be worth 2495, 2995. I don't know. It's a lot of car, isn't it, for that sort of money? Bear in mind, it's only done 88,000 miles. Air conditioning works. It's quite pleasant to drive. What's it worth? Shall I be cheeky and ask 2995 of it? Why not? You can always ski downhill, can't you? Right then, boys and girls, shall we work out what I've spent on this £500 BMW? It was quite cheap, but I worry now that I've massively overspent. Saying that, if I can get £2.5 for it, there's still plenty of profit in here for me. Right, let me park up somewhere scenic then, somewhere nice, and I'll talk you through my costs. Well, I think we'll stick to my little trusty bin spot. Oh, you know, somebody sent me a message on Instagram the other day, a cyclist, or, you know, a cyclist. He was a push bike, wasn't a motorbike. He'd parked up his bike next to this bin and he said, oh look, I found the famous High Peak bin. Anyway, I never thought when I was a kid I'd make a Stockport Metropolitan Council bin famous, but there we go. Right, so I paid £500 for the car, so it was cheap. Let me get my calculator out. £500 for the car. I put £30 of fuel in it. It is quite a thirsty girl, this. £15 on a mini valet. I've had 2 of those. That's £30, £5.60. The bill at my mechanics then, this is where I kind of went wrong a little bit. Rear bumper reflector, £18.23. Dead fair, that, isn't it? Very reasonable. Offside front grille, £31.76. Again, dead fair. A bit of labour, £50 to fit, yeah, fine. Offside front fog lamp, £141.18. I should have got a price check, really. Anyway, no point crying over spilt milk, is there? I don't want to sound dramatic, but I think this is the worst cold anyone's ever had. My grand total there was £289.40. 289.40. I was hoping to have this car completed for about £1,000, and we're already perilously close to that 4-digit figure. My bill at Jimmy's, once again, as always, was very fair. So he's repaired the near side front bumper corner and repaint. Wash, clay bar, buff, polish, wax, touch in and general clean. The total there, for all this work, to transfer, went scouse then, didn't I, for some reason, to transform this car was £225. So, let's add that in, 225. My grand total then for this old BMW 520i is £1,074.40. So just over £1,000. Yeah, it's not bad, is it, that? I'm quite pleased with that, really. Hang on, I've just had a message from my mechanic. Corsa ready, that was easy. That's a result, wasn't it? So yeah, back to this. We're all done. I'm going to go and get it back to work now and sit down for 5 minutes and do my advert. And yeah, I think that's about it. I do love this era BM. I know I'm like a broken record because I keep saying that over and over and over again. But they're just nice and solid, well built. I'm in pain here, guys. I just need a strepsil and a hug in that order. Right, I just don't want to clout one of these dry stone walls. Let me get it back to work. What else is there to say? I think that's it.
Surprisingly, that cheap BMW didn't end up costing me a fortune. I actually sold it for profit. I think in the end it sold for, I think it was about £2,800, so I did alright out of that one. In terms of reliability with old BMWs, it's a bit hit and miss. I think if you go for one of the 6-cylinder engines, generally speaking, you're alright. They're quite a reliable motor. Next up on the list then, we're heading over to the land of the rising sun. We're going to Lexus. Now, Lexus is one of my favourite brands, to be honest. They make really good, solid, reliable luxury cars. Or so I thought.
Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, I'm back in the UK after spending the weekend in Spain. Now I'm back and refreshed and energised and ready to hit the job hard again. I thought I'd share with you what's coming past exchange over the weekend. I do feel like I've taken my eyes off the ball slightly recently and I can't afford for that to happen. So, the first one we've bought is a Lexus IS, which I've given just £750 for. It's a 2007 model, so it's that Mark II model. And for 750 quid, I don't know much about it, but you can't go wrong really. Or hopefully not, anyway. I'm not sure what it's like. It's been described to me as being okay, but the boot lid needs repainting. It's had paint at some point, and now it's all grazed and cracked. Mechanically, I think it's okay. I mean, nothing's been said specifically, so I assume no news is good news. And it's a Lexus at the end of the day. These cars are usually bulletproof. So says every single armchair expert, anyway. I should be able to run this for at least another 50 years and only have to replace the tyres and perhaps a bulb. That's how the comments go anyway, isn't it? I've had my Toyota Avensis for 27 years and all I've had to do is replace headlamp bulb and a couple of wiper blades. Oh yeah. Very interesting. How fascinating. Well, here we are then. So it's finished in like a dark grey colour, which suits it quite well. It's a 2007. It's got the better wheels on it, in my opinion. Looks alright, that. That's disappointing. It's an IS 220 diesel. I was hoping it was an IS 250. The 220 diesel has a 2.2 litre D4D turbo diesel engine, and they only did it in manual. That's a pity. The 250 petrol is a cracking engine. The 220 diesel, not so much. Let's go and have a look then. God, the wind's got even worse. So, it needs a good clean. What's the brand of tyre? We've got an A+, whoever makes those. Don't think it's a brilliant one. I just want to clean. Looks quite tidy down the panels, doesn't it? Ah, that's the boot lid. They did tell me about this. Look at the state of that. It's been painted and now it's obviously reacted. And it's got, feels like the texture of a chalkboard. We've got Westway Nissan plates. Yeah, it wants the boot lid painting. That's terrible. To be fair, I was warned of it, so. Have we got a matching A+ on this side? Yes, we do. And there's about, there's a bit of cracking there on the sidewall. There's about 4 mil of tread left. It's quite tidy down the panels, although it does want a good buff. Not bad. No sunroof. The wheels need refurbing as well because they're all curbed. They're terrible actually. And they're quite a nice design of wheel. We have got a land sail on the front. No expense spared here. Headlamps are cloudy, that's typical Japanese car, isn't it really? They will buff back though. And there's xenon lights actually. I think then this is a good spec car. This will be an SEI or an SEL. Another land sail there. Right, I think this is the kind of car that could be transformed quite easily. Refurbish the wheels, paint the boot lid, buff the headlamps. We've got a car. Oh, we've got keyless entry. That's good. This is a good spec, you know. We've got electric seats, powerful mirrors, xenon lights, sat nav. Very good. What a pity though that it's a 2 litre diesel, 2.2 litre diesel. I'm not a fan of this engine. It suffers quite famously with blown head gaskets. So I think what we should do first is have a look under the bonnet. Well, the struts still work. That's good. Right, it's very dirty under here. The battery looks like it's been replaced fairly recently. No obvious oil leaks though. Looks quite dry. Let's have a look. Oh, there we go. We're looking here for some mayonnaise. See if the head gasket's blown. Can't see any. That's a good sign then. What's the oil like on the dipstick? Is it like honey or like tar? Not too bad actually. It's black, but it's not stodgy. I like the fact that it's got a traditional dipstick rather than some sensor. A bit old-fashioned like that. Well, the inside wants a good clean, but it's quite tidy. A bit of leather, leather wear there on the bolster. Quite clean in the back. Smells quite fresh. What else can I tell you about it? Let's try and fire it up then. There's loads of travel there on the handbrake. That wants adjusting or new cables. Doesn't even sound nice, this diesel engine either. Bit of Andy Williams. That was, of course, Smooth FM. How do I turn the climate off? Oh, the air conditioning works as well. Oh, hang on a minute. I was just about to say, how am I this lucky? We've got an engine light on, and we've got a traction control light on, and it says check VSC. It was all going too well, wasn't it? Too well. We've got a poppy there. I like to see that. Has it been smoked? Yes, it's been smoked in. That's a pity. Let's see if we can turn. No. So there's a fault here with the VSC and an engine light on. Terrific. Doesn't sound good, that at all. Sounds quite poorly. Let's check the service history. Who do we think's owned a car like this? Might help if I actually look at the service book, mightn't it, rather than the audio book. Oh, there isn't one. Right. No service book. That's a shame. Usually, now I am generalising, but usually Lexus owners look after the cars better than this. Because going off the fact that we've got land sail tyres on the front and A+, who I've never heard of, on the back, and an engine light on, and no service history, this doesn't look like it's been lavish with money, does it? Let's take it for a drive then and see how bad it is. It is a good spec, this. We've got a reverse camera as well. Yeah, it's like whistle from the turbo. I don't know whether that's normal or not. I would say going off the heart-shaped air freshener, the smooth FM, and the curved wheels, I'm guessing the previous owner was a lady in her late 50s. That's what I'm going to go with. I'm so gutted that it's got a diesel engine. This is one car that's been ruined by the diesel engine. The IS I think is a great car. The 250 is brilliant. We never got the 350, but I imagine it's very good. But then they dropped a horrible dirty diesel in it. And Lexus don't really do diesels, which is one thing I liked about the brand. This isn't quite right. Doesn't pull like it should. 2.2 litre diesel should feel quicker than this. That is my foot right to the board now, and we're doing, well, yeah. No, I think there's a turbo fault here. If I'm lucky, it's something like a turbo actuator. If I'm unlucky, then it's a whole turbo. We could be into 500, 600, 700 pounds. It's not quite right, that. You can hear it whistling. No. Oh well. Can't have it always. At least the air conditioning works. In fact, let me try and get that to blow more air at me. Everything else seems okay on it though. I don't even know why I'm checking the windows on a Japanese car. Clutch feels okay. Steering feels okay. That's my foot completely to the floor. That just lurched and that wasn't smooth at all. This is quite a poorly car, this. When you get to 3,500 RPM, it judders. Let me try that again. Drop it down into second. We're at 2,000 RPM, foot to the floor, 3,000 RPM. Oh, yeah, that's not good, is it? It's got whiplash then. Oh, and now we're in limp mode. Oh dear. Cars, eh? Don't you just love them? Yeah, that's not good at all, is it? We're now doing 6 miles an hour and... oh, that sounds horrible. Can you hear that? I think I've just made it worse. Oh dear. Well, this is quite relaxing, isn't it? Oh, this is... by the looks of this, I think I'll be walking back. It won't let me rev. Oh, Jesus. What am I doing? What am I doing here? And we've died. Couldn't have broken down in a worse place either. Right, we've got a bit more power now. Let me see if I can just coast this back to that car park before I end up having to get towed. That's stressful. I think what I'll do with this next is limp it down to my mechanics. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Get them to plug it in and try and diagnose it, see if it is a turbo. I don't know, I can't remember whether these engines are a chain-driven engine or not. Could be a timing chain. Either way, I don't think it's going to be cheap, is it? I knew it was too good to be true. This is 750. And there was no mention of the engine light being on. Typical. Typical, typical. Right, well, I'll catch up with you in a little bit then once I've plugged it in and seen what's wrong with it. Alright guys, welcome back. Well, it's been around 2 months since I first filmed the intro for this car, and it's quickly become one of those cars that I just wish I hadn't bothered with. I wish I hadn't gone anywhere near it, but now I'm too far into it. I suppose firstly, look at the transformation. This car has been completely turned around. Let me give you a run through of what I've done. After I broke down last time, I managed to crawl it down to my mechanics, and I had them plug it in. Ultimately, I wanted a service and MOT on it, but I asked them to see why the engine light was on, and see why it was running like a bag of nails. Later that day they called me with some good news. It was coming up with a fuel code. So when they checked the fuel filter, it was probably the original one on the car and it was all clogged up. So it wasn't allowing any fuel to come through, or much fuel anyway. So they changed that for a new one and it was running fine. So they did the service and the MOT and that was all fine. So I picked it up from there and it was driving great. Took it to the body shop, asked them to paint the boot lid, polish the headlamps and just give it a general touch up. Now Jim has done a great job on this. He's probably watching, but he has done another great job. He's buffed the whole car, buffed the headlamps, painted the tailgate, or the boot lid, but then he called me to say the bonnet's really letting the car down. There were a few small rust spots on it, so he recommended painting the whole bonnet. And now I've had that done, I think it looks great. I ordered a new set of reg plates because the old ones are really worn. They've instantly lifted it. Then I took it to get its wheels refurbished. And again, he's done a really good job as well. They look like new. The whole car looks like £3,000 or £4,000 worth all day long, I think. But, and it's quite a big but, it's still got that fault. The fuel filter didn't cure it. I knew I wasn't that lucky. I'm never that lucky. My mate kindly picked it up for me after I had the wheels refurbished, and he called me and he said, Matt, there's just something wrong with this car. Straight away I knew. He said it's just running rough, it doesn't sound right, it just doesn't have the power that a 2.2 or 2 litre diesel, whatever it is, should have. So I knew that I just wasn't out of the woods yet. And it's also, can you hear that? It's also developed another little fault. It thinks that my rear right door there is open, only when I go around a left-hander. So I need to get that sorted. It's a bit annoying though. I could do with some more Roman roads. Some days I just hate cars. Now, having spoken to my mechanic, I think this might need a fuel pump. The symptoms are all kind of fuel starvation related. But I thought I'd keep you all updated before I take it back there for its new fuel pump. And then fingers crossed, I hope that cures it. But really, who knows? Let me find somewhere nice to stop and I'll go through my costs. But this isn't the bargain that I thought it was. And it's still got that running issue. Right, I'll catch up with you in a second. It's irritating, isn't it? Right, so I paid £750 for the car. I spent £150 at my mechanics. I spent £170 on the wheels, £485 on the paint, £20 on some reg plates, and £70 on a valet. So my total is £1,645, far more than the £750 I paid for the car. But I still think this is a £3,000 car. So even with the fuel pump, if that, fingers crossed, if that resolves it, if that's a £200 or £300 job, there should still be £1,000 profit in this car. A lot of heartache and misery, but still should be some profit. So I think that's about it.
Well, that turned out to be a bit of a mistake, didn't it? You know, I never got it running right. I thought I'd cured it and then I hadn't. In the end, I sold it for a loss. It just goes to show that sometimes when you're buying a used car, you really don't know. It's always a bit of a gamble. And you'd think going with a Lexus, which of course is Toyota's luxury arm, you'd think it'd be a safe bet in terms of reliability. Well, sadly that wasn't the case. Now, I still think the IS is a great car, but if you want my honest opinion, go for a petrol. An IS 250 is a really good car. The IS 220 diesel, not so much. Well, the last one on today's list is a very cheap Jaguar. It's another X-Type, yes, but this one was even cheaper. I paid just £500 for this. 500 quid for a Jaguar. Who'd have thought it?
Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, today you join me as I go to pick up a Jaguar X-Type that I bought for just £500. What could possibly go wrong? I honestly don't know why I do it to myself. A £500 Jaguar X-Type is just going to end in tears, isn't it? It can't not. But at the same time, how can I say no to a £500 Jag? You've got to really loosen your bottom jaw, and then you can say it like an American. Jaguar. Apart from the price, which on the face of it does sound low, I don't know any of the details. But it's a bit of fun, isn't it? I can't really go too far wrong with this. If it's a complete scrapper, then I should get £350, maybe £400 because the price of scrap's gone up. On the other hand, if it's nice, it might be worth 1,500 quid, £2,000. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. It isn't going to be nice, is it? Oh, there's one now. I've had lots of these cars over the years, and I know that if they're unloved, they can be a bit of a money pit. They suffer badly from rust, particularly on the sills. If it's a diesel, they can have injector issues, EGR issues, turbo issues, issues with the clutch and dual mass flywheel. I'm hoping it's not a diesel. I'm hoping it's a 3 litre all-wheel drive V6 estate, sovereign spec, but what am I saying? It's 500 quid, it can't be, can it? I'm kind of excited in a funny sort of way. So, shall we put ourselves out of our misery and go and have a look? I'll see you there. Well, what have we got here? We've got a flat tyre for a start. I can see some cobwebs, but that's a sport model. There's no chrome on it, it's all colour keyed. That looks really smart actually. Why am I beeping? Shut up. Let's have a closer look. Yeah, it's got the sport alloys. It looks far better being a sport than a standard SE. It's a Birmingham car. Oh. It's a Birmingham car, but the front plate says National Crash Repair Centre. That's not good, is it? Means it's had a whack. Let's go and have a look then, shall we? Obviously, because there's no MOT, I can't drive it on the roads, but we'll start it up and take a look around it. Okay, let's have a look then, shall we? Now, obviously there's no MOT, so I can't take it out on the road, but I could take it around here for a quick drive. So we've got two keys, neither of which work. This is all a bit scabby. So we've got a flat tyre there, and yeah, those brake discs do look a bit ropey. That is a Auto Green Sport Chaser, a brand I've never heard of. But the bodywork looks quite tidy, doesn't it? Take that key out before I lose it. Quite tidy actually. It's not too scabby, is it? Up front we've got another Auto Green Sport Chaser on about 4mm of tread. Little scuff there. The liner there is a bit loose. Well, this is the plate I was telling you about. So, Nationwide Crash Repair Centre. That would tell me then that it's had a whack on the front end if they've replaced the plate from that centre. But, I mean, those panel gaps, they look okay, don't they? It's not tighter at one end than the other. What about this side? That is a bit actually, isn't it? It's a bit tighter down there than it is up there. In fact, yeah, massively. The headlamps look original though. Yeah, that's been painted. You can see where it's starting to peel. So it's had a minor non-recorded or unrecorded nudge at the front. Those headlamps could buff back actually. We've got another Auto Green there with 4 or 5mm on. Have we got a matching set of Auto Greens? We do. Look at that. Auto Green me up. Little scuff there on the wheel arch, but that's not neither here nor there. Some marks there where it's driven past a hedge, but they would come off. The front discs don't look much better than the back, do they? A little bit of corrosion there. From the back, it's all quite tidy, isn't it? Quite original. We've got its original Stratstone plate. Stratstone Jag. That's starting to peel there, and that looks a bit kind of like orange peel, doesn't it? So I'd guess that this back bumper's been painted as well. It started to peel. So it's had a bit of paint, but it was 500 quid, who cares? This needs a good old clean round here. It's been parked under a tree by the looks of it. Well, that's not bad, is it? Inside, what have we got? Original mats. It's all quite clean, isn't it? Full leather interior, not cloth. We've got electric seats. This is quite a good spec, actually. Oh, bugger. Need to replace the key battery, don't we? So we've got, yes, didn't go out. We've got an engine light. Classic FM, look at that. So we've got classic FM. So I think we now know that the owner was elderly. So 5-speed manual. The clutch feels quite nice. It's nice and light. We've got an engine light on. Feels a little bit lumpy actually. What else can I tell you? No heated seats, but we do have powerful mirrors. That beep is coming from the Nokia cradle there. Somebody's had a Nokia 3210 by the looks of it. I love stuff like this. That's an original factory thing, isn't it? Have we got any service history? Let's have a look. Service portfolio, there we go. I love Jags. So we've got some receipts here for tyres from Staley Bridge. Not too far away. Cover the guy's name there. This is the Jagman Limited, Northwest XJ Service. I've never heard of those in Wigan. It might be quite handy to get in touch with. It was serviced by them at 82,000 miles. It's a cheap service, isn't it? Imagine it was 15 years ago. Do we have any service? Oh, look at this. So it was serviced by Stratstone in Stourbridge at 2,000 miles. Then that place in Wigan at 8,000 miles. Then Stratstone Volvo in Preston at 14. Then Minster Jag in Preston at 19. Then Premier Automotive at 32, 39, 44, 49, 54. They're only in Duckingfield, so that's not far away. 54, 58, 63 in 2017 at 63. And it's only done 75 right now. So it was last serviced, okay, it was 5 years ago, but it was only serviced 12,000 miles ago. Still got the original radio code. Well, that's good to see, isn't it? Just had a thought, I was going to take this around the car park, but I've got a flat tyre. I don't want to do it any damage. I'd hate to damage my auto green. That actually, now it's warmed up, sounds quite sweet. Turn off the fan a second. You can hear this Jaguar roar. Oh no, that does actually still feel a bit lumpy. I wonder what that is. I'll have to get that code read. Has it ever been smoked in? Let's have a look. My guess is not, because it smells quite clean. Look at that. I mean, I know you can't feel this, but if you feel the steering wheel, it feels like a fresh car. It doesn't feel all worn and abused. I'm quite impressed with this. It's even got the Volvo Stratstone tax disc holder. It's very clean back there. It's probably never been sat in. In here we've got a million air fresheners and a charger for a, at this rate it's probably a Motorola. TomTom. Oh yes. Bring your own sat nav. Well, this isn't a bad car, is it? It's set to Fahrenheit, not Celsius. Okay, we can change that. Right, let's try the air conditioning. Will this work on a, how old is it now? 18-year-old Jaguar? Come on. No heated seats, a bit of a pity. No, that's warm. Yeah, it's like a hairdryer actually. What do you want for 500 quid though? Oh, hang on a minute, that's cold. Ah, that works. We've got functioning air conditioning. Let me open the rest of the doors then. And then we shall continue our tour. There's no rust around the door seals. Just needs a bit of a clean, that's all. Oh yeah, proper clean. It's been parked under a tree. Bit rusty. The actual boot floor isn't rusty, it's just the old tyre arm thing. Space saver, Pirelli there. Now the 2.1 petrol only has one exhaust, I think. whereas the 2.5 and the 3 litre have twin exhausts. Yeah. We've got rear parking sensors. It's a good option. Well, there's not much else to tell you, apart from the fact it's quite a clean car, this. How can you get all this for 500 quid? Doesn't make sense, does it? Shouldn't say that, shouldn't jinx it, because now it's going to take £1,000 to get through an MOT, isn't it? And you've got, which I always quite liked, a little curry hook there. Right, well, I think that's all I can show you. So, what I'm going to do is take it down to my mechanics, get them to check it over, and see if it'll pass an MOT. So, I'll see you in a couple of days. Alright guys, how's it going? Well, we're back in the woods, and if the nursery rhyme's right, if you go down to the woods today, you're in for a big surprise. Actually, this wasn't a big surprise, was it? The Jaguar has been roundly condemned. I thought that might be the case. Still got a bit of a misfire. I took this down to my mechanics, and they've done a job sheet. So I left it there for an MOT and a PDI, so basically a pre-delivery inspection, a minor oil service, and just a check over. The check over that they've done was quite thorough, and it isn't good news. It's ironic then that I'm filming this on Halloween, because it does get quite scary, this. Firstly, a coolant leak. That could be solved. The gearbox is noisy. That could be something major, couldn't it? Or a big expensive job anyway. We've got a bad wheel bearing. Most frightening of all though is the underneath. It is as rotten as a bear. It requires 2 sills, which is quite an expensive job. Something else that's excessively corroded are both rear springs. Then the sump plug can't be removed, so it needed a new sump. Someone's obviously ground that off. The offside front wheel nut's missing. Offside front ball joint dust cover's split. That's a minor job really. Both rear trailing arm bushes have excessive play. The fuel pipes are excessively corroded. Both rear suspension arms are excessively corroded. And there's no locking wheel nut. In addition to that, we've got an engine light on and a misfire. It's quite lumpy, that. I expect that would be cured with a fresh set of spark plugs and maybe a coil pack. Oh, and also we've got a puncture or a puncture repair needed. So, unfortunately, it isn't worth repairing, and I'm gutted. Because here we have a car that's only done 75,000 miles, it's got 2 keys, and it's quite a nice spec. Sounds good too. But, unfortunately, it just isn't worth repairing. To do all those jobs, it'd probably cost me about £1,500. Add that to the £500 that I've paid for this car, it would owe me £2,000. And really, it's only worth 15 or 2 grand tops. I think what I'm going to do then is put it on eBay as a donor vehicle and try and sell it spares or repairs. Try and get my £500 back. You'd have thought somebody that wants the interior would give you a few £100 at least. So I guess in bits I'll get my £500 back. Who knows? I think what I'll do then, because I haven't even driven this car yet, is just drive it down this private lane before anybody tries reporting me. Private lane, onto the car park at the bottom, and then advertise its spares. I've not really driven this car before. Alright. What a pity. Slightly clunky suspension. You can hear it knocking. Wants to pull what? You can hear the wheel bearing now, or maybe the gearbox. There's a slight knock from the rear as well. There's a bit of a hum there actually. I've thought of a better idea for this car. I've just seen 5 lads go past on scrambler bikes with no number plates, probably stolen, not wearing any helmets, with balaclavas on. Should use this car to sort of knock them all off it, shouldn't I really? That'd be a better use. Save the taxpayers some money as well, wouldn't it? Right, well on that slightly depressing note, I think that's about it.
I usually like to give you some sort of summary at the end of these videos and let you know how much it sold for, whether I made a profit or a loss, that sort of thing. But I genuinely can't remember what I did with this. I've just done a quick car vertical check just to see if it's still on the road, and it is. So whatever I did with it, somebody obviously ended up keeping it. The MOT runs out in 3 days' time actually. But still, it's still on the road, so that's good. On its last MOT it only had 1 advisor item. Near side front anti-roll bar linkage ball joint dust cover severely deteriorated. And it had done 79,000 miles. So, Yeah, somebody must have spent some money on it, but it wasn't me on this occasion. Well, I think that's about it. So thank you once again for watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done already. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. I'll leave the links below. And yeah, cheers guys. See you next time.